Welcome, friends. Today we are doing a top 10 list. Bloody hell. And the top 10 list that we are doing today is the top 10 female perfumes in my collection. Most of my collection is male-targeted vintage fragrances and unisex fragrances. All fragrances, any fragrance can be worn by anyone. If you want to wear this, that, or the other, you wear that. Don't be put off by anything. If you like the smell of something and want to smell it on yourself, wear it and buy it and be happy. There are a lot of, I've said this many times on the channel, there are a lot of vintage fragrances, vintage male fragrances that I would love to smell on a woman. You know? The days of the women's aisle and the men's aisle are long gone. It's more packaging. You don't wear the packaging though, do you? You wear the smell. So it's one of those things. Anyway, here are my 10. The way I've done it, right, is that I have taken these fragrances that were targeted towards women when they were released. Now, obviously, I've got a lot of vintage perfumes, so back in the day, things were either released as male-targeted, female-targeted, and the occasional unisex fragrance. You don't get that much anymore. Most stuff's just like not even targeted at men or women, unless it's through the packaging. So, let's get started. Now, these are my personal ratings and how I rate them compared to each other. So, and how much I like them, right? That's how I'm rating them on how much I like them. So, there's going to be some strange sort of positions and stuff like that. So just chill, you know. But we will go straight in at number 10 with a perfume I have not smelled very much. And I only got it recently, so this is why it's at number 10. And that is Nehima Parfum de Toilette. Now, this is basically Guerlain saying that this is an eau de parfum concentration. It's just how it is, you know. It's a rose, floral, fruity perfume. Look, it even tells you on the back, because this is a tester. I don't know if you can see that, what it says, but it says flowery, fruity. Dominant notes are roses, fruity, and woody. And that's about right, yeah. It was launched in 1979. I will tell you the notes according to Fragrantica. They are rose in the top, rose, peach, aldehydes, green notes, and bergamot. Middle notes are Bulgarian rose, hyacinth, ylang, lilac, jasmine, and lily of the valley. Yikes. Jasmine and lily of the valley. And ylang. Base notes are Peru balsam, sandalwood, passion fruit, vanilla, and vetiver. So, let's spray this and see what it does, eh? The reason this is where it is because I haven't worn it very much. It's very fruity and very floral. You get that Guerlain peach, definitely. You get I get a dry floral from it. It's very perfumey. This is not me at all. It's got an almost like a violet, like a Parma violet, but not the violet part of the Parma violet, more like the Parma part. Like the sort of, you know, that dryness, that sort of chalkiness. It's got that at the top for me. It's very different. Very different from what I've got. And it's number 10 simply because all the other ones are better, to be honest with you, in my opinion. But I do realise this is quality. This is a vintage. I think this is a refill for like one of those flacons that they used to have. But anyway, I'm glad to have this. I'm not sure I'll keep it forever because I'm not sure I'd wear it unless my taste changes massively. But this is Nahima Parfum de Toilette by Guerlain. Now, I haven't actually arranged these in any order, so I'm going to have to just go through them and pick them out at random. Number 9. I'm going to go with this. Oh, fudge. A recent pickup from Tom Ford, Sahara Noir. I got this. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. I got this recently, back end of last year, December. I've worn it a couple of times, and it's definitely wearable by both sexes. The Nahima is definitely very feminine leaning for me. But the Sahara Noir is much more a modern sort of Tom Ford take on a woman's fragrance. You know, it's an amber, it's dark, it's a little bit resinous, incensey. It's got that Tom Ford darkness and build. You might be noticing this is a 100ml bottle. It is, because this was a tester. I bought this because I got it cheap. But I'm not sure the person knew what they had. But anyway, top notes are labdanum, cypress, bitter orange, and calamus, whatever that is. Middle notes are incense, beeswax, cinnamon, papyrus, Moroccan nose, and Egyptian jasmine. The base notes are Egyptian balsam, amber, labdanum again, benzoin, agar wood, cedar, and vanilla. And it really does smell like a Tom Ford. I'll tell you what I get most out of this. The incense, the balsams, and the papyrus. Get an amber as well, but it's like a nondescript amber. You know? The performance wasn't huge on me. I need to wear this and get used to it. But this was really surprising. With it, very much a Tom Ford fragrance, this. Very interesting. Very sought after. The prices are huge. Don't pay the aftermarket prices. It's lunacy, you know. I'm glad I've got this. Again, do I think it's worth the hype like Nahima? Not, if I'm being perfectly honest. No, not for me. But that's the reason why it's at the bottom of the list. Next, number 8. What shall I pick as number 8? I know what I'll pick as number 8. We'll go for an absolute classic, and people will be screaming at their screens when they see this. And that is the vintage bottle I got of Shalimar. This is the Eau de Toilette. It is a 97 milliliter, which is just one of those vintage crazy prices that they come out with quite often. It's the Eau de Toilette. Did I say that? It is, yeah. Shalimar, Guerlain. Beautiful bottles. I love these bottles. They're fantastic. Very delicate, very thin glass compared to what you get now. Article to demonstration. 87% volume. 97 mil. Why 97 mil? Why would you do such a thing? You can't see that. I've just realised. Apologies. Anyway, I'll tell you the notes and then I'll tell you what I get. The top notes are bergamot and floral notes. Floral notes, which florals? Middle notes are iris, rose, and jasmine. And the base notes are vanilla and tonka bean. So let's have a spray. Now, I've got to be perfectly honest. I don't care for this. It's vanillic. It's extremely vanillic, but like a vintage vanilla. It's like a furry vanilla. Like a warm, like the iris gives it that sort of furriness, that undefined edge, you know? It's got that round, cloudy, fluffy cotton sort of, you know, like balls of cotton. You know, they end somewhere, but like they're furry. They're just sort of like, it doesn't feel like it's got any defined edges. It's very strange, this perfume on me. I get a huge blast of labdanum. in the same way that I do from Le Lion. This is very, very similar to Le Lion for me. And I would rather have this because I don't rate Le Lion. And I'm not huge on this either, to be perfectly honest with you. I need to spend more time with it and get used to it. And I might come round to it. I'm glad to have it because I've been after a Shalimar for a while. But, whew, tough one for me to eat this. In that it wasn't an instant love. You know, when you smell some fragrances, you're like, bang, I love it. This wasn't one of those. I sprayed this on and I was like, ooh, what's this? What's going on here? I don't understand you. Behave. But yeah, this is strange. It's sweet, but not in a sugary sort of way. It's warm, but not in an, I want to say, ambery sort of way. Not in a dark sort of way. It's very musky. It's got that old smell about it. You know, it smells old. I mean, it came out in like fucking the early 1900s, I think. I can't remember. I don't remember when it was first released, but it's an ancient perfume. Lots of purists absolutely love it, but I must admit, not me. Anyway, we shall move on to number 7. And number 7 is... What is number 7? All right, we'll go with this. Another Girl On. Mitsuko. I really like this. We're getting into the territory of the ones where I actually actively like them and like them quite a bit. This is Mitsuko Eau de Toilette. As you can see, this was a bit of a bastard. The sprayer was fucked. So I decanted it into here. I don't think this is a winter perfume. I think this is a spring-summer perfume, and I intend to wear it. I'm just going to have a look up of the notes. I think this came out in 1919, that's right. And it feels like a fougere a bit to me. Like a fougere, but it's actually a sheep red, but it's like it feels like that sort of masculine, sort of fresh cologne-y sort of thing. But most vintage female fragrances are more masculine than men's now. Very earthy, very mossy. Very masculine, spicy a little bit as well. A little bit of fruit in there too. It's brilliant. It's really good. I like this. The top notes are bergamot, rose, jasmine, and citruses. Middle notes are peach, ylang-ylang, lilac, rose, and jasmine. The base notes are oak moss, nice, spices, vetiver, cinnamon, and amber. I get the oak moss, I get the spices, I get peach to a degree, and I get the bergamot as well, actually. I actually get a bit of bergamot in the top. I'm going to spray some on. Oh. The sprayers on these bottles I bought are huge. That's really fresh and invigorating. That's actually really nice. I really like it. Another Jacques Guerlain. He didn't fuck about, did he? He made some pretty good stuff. And this is really good. Gentlemen, if you want to get into the more classical side of perfume, if you want to investigate the sort of the classics, like the timeless stuff, the great stuff, Mitsuko's where I would start, especially on the female side. Mitsuko's where I'd start. It will break you in quite nicely. I get a lavender sort of vibe from this as well. You know that feeling that lavender gives, like that clean sort of cool vibe. I get that from this. But yes. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on to number 5. I do hope I have got the right number of fragrances here, because if not, I'm going to fucking shit myself. I'll cry on camera. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, thank God. Right. So next, what shall we do? And my favourites. What is the next one? Oh, what we'll do, we'll go for this. We'll go for this. And this is another classic as well. This was made by Edmund Rudnitska, and it's for the House of Rochas. And this is Femme de Rochas. Rochas. Have I just completely messed that up? There we go. Parfum de Toilette. Again, just means eau de parfum, to be honest with you. This is fruity. And it's very ambery and thick. And I mean, this is the vintage one. They re-released it in 2013. This again is a Chypre. This was made in 1943, apparently. 1944, I beg your pardon. It's very liqueur-y, very thick. Give us a smell, remind us. Oh. You see this being an escape perfume, you know, Edmund Rudnitska sitting in deepest France during the occupation. Thinking of some way to get away. It smells liqueur-y, it smells thick, it smells rich, it smells deep. Not unlike another fragrance that's in here. Well, two other fragrances. It's very perfumey as well, but it's got like a blast of freshness and spiciness at the top. I will tell you the notes. Top notes are plum, peach, cinnamon, apricot, Brazilian rosewood, bergamot, and lemon. The middle notes are clove, carnation, ylang, rosemary, rose, iris, and jasmine. The base notes are oak moss, leather, benzoin, amber, patchouli, musk, and vanilla. What I get from this is the plum, the peach, the apricot, the cinnamon, cloves, the carnation, the oak moss, the leather, and the benzoin. I mean, that's more notes than most fragrances have now. This is a really special perfume. It's absolutely fantastic. See if you can get the vintage one. They did re-release it in 2013. So if you can get an older one, please try that. This is a Rudnitska special. And the man who was at Dior when Pierre Bourdon met him and decided that's what he wanted to do. Just pouring a drink. So you wouldn't have Koros if it wasn't for the man who made this. You wouldn't have Green Irish Tweed. You wouldn't have all those bangers that Pierre Bourdon came out with. But this is thick, syrupy, in a fruity way. You know, like a liqueur, like a plum liqueur, like a peach liqueur. Cloves and carnation. Oak moss. Beautiful. Absolutely fantastic. I need to put some of this in a decant and get it worn. Eugenia began mental because of all the fingerprints. Is that better? Sort of is a bit better, isn't it? Yeah. Absolutely fantastic bottle. This is ancient, according to the person I bought it off. I have no reason to doubt him. Okay, so next I am going to go for... all the rest of them are total classics, like, so you'll have heard of all of them, but it's just in which order I want to put them in. I'll tell you which order I'll put them in. So there's... Right, I'm going to count these as one fragrance. So... it's Opium, and Opium Secret de Parfum. Now, I found out something about Secret de Parfum recently. The Secret de Parfum is just the eau de parfum version of Opium. So these are both the same fragrance, just different concentrations. This has got a lot more myrrh in it, and the myrrh is a lot more prominent. I got a genuine in the wild compliment of two old women in an auction house off this. And it's a fantastic fragrance. It really is beautiful. It's got that perfumey woman sort of vibe. you know, like the big old fabulous, but you can definitely wear this as a bloke. You would just have to be able to pull it off, you know. It's got a slightly pissy sort of vibe. It's got a slightly... It was so popular that a lot of people will recognize it, you know, and they'll remember their grannies or their mothers by it, you know. I'll tell you the notes on the Eau de Toilette. Apparently it was made by 3 people. But the note listing on this for the Eau de Toilette's massive. So at the top it's cloves, pepper, coriander, West Indian bay, plum, jasmine, mandarin orange, bergamot and citruses, bloody citruses. Middle notes are carnation, cinnamon, sandalwood, patchouli, orris, rose, peach and lily of the valley. Base notes are incense, myrrh, sandalwood, tolu balsam, amber, opoponax, benzoin, labdanum, vanilla, musk, castoreum, cedar, vetiver, and coconut. What is coconut doing there? I'll tell you something else though. It's snuck into a lot of the base notes and a lot of like classic perfumes. It's such a rascal. But what I get from this, it's not listed, but I get an ever so slightly pissy vibe from it. You know, like a hairspray. Like, I don't know whether it's just like scent memories or something, you know, like, but it gives you that sort of 40-odd-year-old, 50-odd-year-old woman who's dressed up and trying to recapture her youth a bit, tarting herself up with tight blouses and things she shouldn't be wearing. But if you want to try and wear this and make it your own, it's absolutely fantastic. It says it hasn't got patchouli in it. I get a huge patchouli from it. I get the cloves, a spicy carnation, so the cinnamon and the carnation. Carnation can be very spicy. Those citruses and those like the plum and the mandarin orange, the peach. It has actually got patchouli in it, but it's in the mid notes, I beg your pardon. It's got those sort of sweet sort of... It's more like a syrupy sort of thing as well. The Secret de Parfum is very different, though. It's much cleaner. It's much more resinous. It's much more ambery. It's balsamic. I'll tell you what note this one's got in. This is one of my favourite pickups of last year. It's absolutely fabulous. Like, this has got mandarin orange, bergamot, lily of the valley in the top, red myrrh, whatever that is, marigold, and jasmine in the middle. And in the base, it's got amber, opoponax, patchouli, and vanilla. This is again another big patchouli fragrance. I do like patchouli, and I like a sweet patchouli, that kind of thing, you know, like a resinous ambery patchouli, thick, goopy, and that's what this is. Anyway, we better crack on because it's 25 minutes already. So, number 4. Number 4 is another classic. They're all classics. And that is Samsara. I've got Samsara Eau de Toilette as well. As you can see, it's over here. Hello. But I don't like that as much as I like the Eau de Parfum, because the Eau de Parfum doesn't have as pronounced jasmine and ylang. It's much more sandalwoody. It's much softer. It's fucking glorious. Like, if you can get a vintage Samsara, do it. It's got real Mysore sandalwood in, and a lot of it. The latest iteration of this just doesn't cut it. I watched a video by Ouch110 where he said that the latest version of this was a bit sad for him, because this always reminded him of his mother, and it was so it was so much of a perfume to him, you know, and it meant so much. And the latest one just felt like it just wasn't what it was. Which is one of the reasons I hate reformulations. But I've got the pure perfume. Oh, I haven't. Sorry, that's a lie. I've got the eau de parfum, and I've got a couple of bottles of the eau de toilette. And I'm not as big on the eau de toilette, I've got to be honest, but I do like it, but I'm not as big on it. Very jasmine-y. Jasmine to me is very, very funny. There's only one jasmine perfume I really like, and that's a Kitos. So jasmine heavy, I should say, like jasmine centric. So anyway, I would highly recommend that you got a smell of this. The ylang, the sandalwood make it very creamy, very, very nice. I really like it. See if I can get the notes up. Samsara Eau de Parfum. It was made in 1989. Jean Paul Guerlain. And the notes were ylang ylang, peach, bergamot, green notes, and lemon at the top. Iris, jasmine, narcissus, orris root, rose, and violet in the middle. Huge sandalwood in the base. Vanilla, big vanilla in it too, that's right. And iris, yes. Amber, tonka bean, and musk in the base. Beautiful perfume. I highly recommend you try. Easy to pull off for a man, especially in the autumn and the winter. Next, another pickup from last year that has become a real love for me. You will recognise it because I've waxed lyrical about this. I bought this and absolutely just loved it the first time I smelled it. It's an amber. It's thick, it's rich, it's dense, and it is Cocoa Eau de Parfum, the vintage. The new one smells all right, but this is something else. This is a spicy amber, like a real tour de force from Jacques Polge, a man who knows what he's doing. And this is like one of the high water marks of his time at Chanel for me. Absolutely fucking fabulous. It smells like the color of the juice, you know. I don't know if you can see that, but it's almost like a wood color. It doesn't smell woody, but it smells like that sort of brown amber, thick, sweet sort of thing, you know. A little bit boozy too. Again, like a liqueur, you know, like a really thick, rich liqueur. Too rich, too thick to drink. But if you spray a little bit on, it'll carry you all day. Performance on all of these is wild. Absolutely sensational. So, top notes on this are Bulgarian rose. And it is rosy. It's like a rosy amber floral. Oh, this is the problem with reviewing for me. I feel like I can't do them justice. But anyway, so Bulgarian rose, coriander, peach, jasmine, and mandarin orange at the top. In the mid, there's cloves, rose, orange blossom, mimosa, and clover. In the base, there's amber, sandalwood, tonka, civet, popanax, vanilla, and labdanum. The civet in this, all right, very clever. You can't smell it as civet per se, but you can pick it up in the fact that it gives a reference point for the other notes to bounce off and shine more. You know, it's like not being able to see the foundations of a building. It's there. It has to be there. And you can tell because you can tell because the building hasn't fallen down and but you can't actually see it. It's in and of itself. It's like the wind, you know? You can't see the wind, but you can see its effect. It's like that. It's so good. It smells so good, especially the vintage one. Peter Kokorin told me that this was so much better than the new one. It was unbelievable. So I'm very lucky to have it, and I'm very happy to have it. And it was only beaten out by two absolute superstars, as you will come to see. I'm having a hard time in my mind. I'll put this over here. Back you go. I am having a hard time in my mind choosing which one of these should be number 1 and number 2. So historical reference. Fuck it. Number 2, just, is Shiseido's Féminité du Bois. This is absolutely gorgeous. I've got the Serge Lutens one as well. I happen to think that this is better than the Serge Lutens one. A plum liqueur again, but with woods. This is easily wearable for a man. If you've smelled Plum Japonais by Tom Ford, this is like that, but better and a more original. This is Pierre Bourdon and Christopher Sheldrake, and two of my favorite, if not my favorite, perfumers, and they are untouchable for this. This is one of the great perfumes, in my opinion. Love the bottle as well. Serge Lutens designed the bottle, I believe. And it feels so good in the hand. It feels so good in the hand. I can't tell you how ergonomic that is, how good it feels, you know. It smells like rich and thick, and yet never cloying and never too sweet. It's brilliantly made. It's balanced pitch perfectly. This was when Pierre Bourdon was like creating stuff that just couldn't be touched. You've got to remember, he did Green Irish Tweed, he did Koros, he did Cool Water, he did Jupe Homme, he then did this, which is Féminité du Bois, one of the first woody perfumes for women. Completely changed perfume. And when you listen to the note breakdown for this, it's difficult to see how it was targeted towards women, but it was, and it would work perfectly. Anybody could wear this. Is probably the most unisex of all of them, maybe apart from Sahara Noir. And the last one. But I'll tell you the top notes, I'll tell you the mid notes, and I'll tell you the base notes. So top notes of cedar, cinnamon, honey, ginger, carnation, and rose. The mid notes are plum, cloves, beeswax, cardamom, peach, violet, and orange blossom. Base notes are cedar, cinnamon, sandalwood, benzoin, musk, and vanilla. It's a lot of notes in there, but it's balanced beautifully. Cedar in the top and cedar in the base. Like I say, it never goes too far one way or the other. It's sweet, but it's not too sweet. It's woody, but it's not too woody. It just smells amazing. Really good. One of the best female targeted fragrances ever, and it was only beaten out by probably the best female targeted perfume ever, and certainly the one that I own. And when you see it, you won't you will not doubt it. Where is the it's taking the Michael. Anyway, we'll just announce it to you. This is an absolute icon, and it is one of the perfumes that changed perfume history. It is Cuir de Russie by Chanel. This is the original leather for women. Back when, in the early 20s, when you had stuff like Knees 10, and you had all these huge perfumes coming out from Guerlain, from Coty. This is a completely different perfume. it is a true original, you know? It's not something that could be it's not something that could be, you can't show where this came from, you know? How Chanel thought that this could be like a woman's perfume. Total inspiration. That she used this and decided that this would be for women. She basically just took everything and turned it on its head. It was made by Ernest Beau, her first perfumer, and one of our greatest perfumers. I mean, they've had some pretty good perfumers at Chanel. I'll read you the notes for the original. Mine's the Eau de Toilette version, not the Eau de Parfum. I prefer this one. But I'll let you see. Top notes are clary sage, orange blossom, bergamot, lemon, and mandarin. Mid notes are iris, ylang ylang, vetiver, carnation, jasmine, rose, and cedar. The base notes are leather, birch, tobacco, musk, amber, heliotrope, and vanilla. Well, what do I get from this? Let's have a smell quick. So immediately I get the ylang ylang. Ylang ylang is like the top for me. I get a little bit of the clary sage, and I get a little bit of bergamot and a little bit of orange blossom. But it's almost straight into the mid for me. Better wipe the fingerprints off lest Eugene kick off. Which is strange because I'm just literally grabbing it by the bottle again. And then it jumps to the iris, the ylang ylang, and the carnation. And you get this very floral aspect to it. Now, I've smelled a bottle that Ramsey sent me from the 80s, and it was much less floral. I think they're filling this out with florals because they can't use the amount of leather and birch that they used to use. This is a very bottom-heavy perfume. I think that the leather's obviously massive in it. The birch is massive, like very present in it, very like defining in it, the birch. The idea of putting birch on a woman must have been so different from what came before, you know? I just love the idea that it was like a complete shock to the system for people. And then I get like a little bit of the amber as well in the tobacco, you know? It gives off this sort of like this darkness and this warmth, this stay back but come here sort of thing, you know? Dangerous, dark. Go with like the little black dress and everything. All those things that people say that Chanel was. This was when she was young as well. And she was original and a trailblazer, and it smells like that, and it still smells like that. It smells like the roaring 20s. It smells like flappers. It smells like short haircuts and little black dresses. It's fantastic, and it's easily wearable for a man. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to try and keep this under 40 minutes. I was going to try and keep it under half an hour, but I can't help myself. Anyway, I shall move that there. Thank you very much. I appreciate you watching. Let me know what you think, and I will see you again. Goodbye.